Health anxiety. I know the feeling. Your mind just can't stop worrying, fixating on the idea that maybe something is wrong. What if the mole on your arm is cancerous? What if that pain in your chest means you're having a heart attack? What if that headache is a brain tumor? What if that stomach pain means you've got appendicitis? You're exhausted and you want it to stop. My name is Winston Janis. I'm a licensed therapist, and I want to offer you a way of understanding and overcoming health anxiety. The first thing to understand is that your anxiety is like the survival computer of the brain. Its entire job, the thing that it was built for, is to scan the environment for threats and alert you to danger. It's been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not your enemy. Without it, you wouldn't live very long. You'd just be walking into traffic. It's there to keep you alive. The problem is, it doesn't always know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. It doesn't distinguish between a tiger in the grass and a weird feeling in your side. It just fires the alarm. So one of the most important things to realize is that the feeling of anxiety is not the same as the story anxiety tells being true. The mind's a storyteller. It's always constructing narratives and making interpretations and meaning out of everything. So you feel a sensation, let's say a random pain in the chest, and then the mind creates a story. This could mean I am having a heart attack. And then the story creates anxiety. But just because you feel anxious doesn't mean the thing you're anxious about is true. It's just what your anxiety is fixated on. Here's another way to think about this. Why are you worried about your health and not something else? Maybe you had a health scare recently, or maybe there isn't a clear reason you can point to. But whatever the case may be, it's interesting to think about how there are other people who are absolutely terrified of things that you probably don't even think about. One interesting thing about being a therapist is that I get to see this every day. For example, I work with people who are terrified that their partner is going to cheat on them, and it's all they can think about. Other people are specifically afraid of vomiting, like deeply phobically afraid of it. Other people are terrified of driving. Some people can't stop worrying about getting fired at work or being in social situations. You see, the reality is that at any moment right now, as you're watching this, you could have a heart attack. You could have a brain aneurysm. You could also get hit by a car today. World War III could break out and a nuclear bomb could go off. The point is that there is no end to the list of possible things to be worried about. It's literally infinite. So total safety is impossible. Threat is not something that goes away when you manage your anxiety well. Threat is the baseline condition of being alive on this planet. And maybe that sounds terrifying, but sit with it for a second. You can't worry yourself to safety. And when you really feel that, when you really let that sink in, you realize that it's simply not worth it to keep worrying. You take reasonable precautions, sure, but then you just let go. You're going to die anyway. I'm going to die anyway. We all are. Once you really accept that, it frees you to ask yourself, how do you want to spend the time that you do have? Not curled up in a ball of fear, not in a browser tab at midnight, actually living. So when you notice this anxiety come up, the first thing is not to feed it. Don't go down the rabbit holes. Don't Google the symptoms. I know you already know this. I'm saying it anyway. The symptom spiral isn't research. It's anxiety feeding itself. Every search is your brain saying, I just need more information and then I'll feel safe. And that's a lie. It will tell you every single time. There's no amount of information that will make your survival computer feel safe. That's not what it's for. Second, and this is a skill from a therapy approach called acceptance and commitment therapy. Learn to diffuse from your thoughts. You don't have to believe every thought your mind hands you. Your mind says that headache could be serious. You don't have to argue with that thought. You don't have to prove it wrong. You can simply notice it. Oh, there's that thought again. It's my brain trying to protect me. And then gently, without drama, you let it pass, without following it down the rabbit hole. You are not your thoughts. You are the one noticing them. That space between the thought and your reaction to it, that's where your freedom lies. You know, I've had my own bouts of health anxiety as well, mostly because I'd never had any serious health problems. It's the fear of the unknown. I remember being terrified of needing surgery. I'd heard stories about people waking up in the middle of surgery, fully conscious, unable to move, and I decided somewhere in my anxious brain that that would happen to me if I needed surgery. I didn't know how I'd be able to handle it if I was ever in that situation. Whenever I had a stomach ache, I'd be afraid of having appendicitis and needing emergency surgery. And then one day, I had a stomach pain that wouldn't go away. It got worse and worse, and I ended up in the emergency room. And lo and behold, appendicitis, emergency surgery. You know what happened? I survived it. I came out the other side. I'm here talking to you about it. I didn't wake up in the middle of surgery, and it was all fine. The actual experience was 10 times easier than my anxiety about it for all those years. I mean, yes, I was anxious, but when you're in that situation, you just have no choice but to go forward. You know, the doctors give you stuff to help with the anxiety, and you trust that you can do it. You can handle this. You know, when you're in the moment, you don't have the luxury to spiral. You just move through it. And here's what I've noticed in my own life and in the lives of my clients. Every time we survive something we were convinced we couldn't survive, we gain confidence. We learn that we're capable of more than we thought. Think about the hardest things that have happened in your life, the things you were certain would break you. You're here. You made it through. You know, people go through things that seem unimaginable to outsiders. Cancer, devastating loss, incredible pain. But they get through these things. And they're human, just like you. If they can do it, so can you. I genuinely didn't think I could survive some of the things that I have. If I can do these things, so can you. There's something in us that rises to meet those challenges, capacities that you don't even know you have. So you learn to trust that your body is not constantly on the verge of catastrophe. Trust that you will get the information you need when you need it. Trust that if something hard comes, and hard things do come, that you'll find a way through it. You don't have to eliminate anxiety. It's not the goal. Anxiety is part of being human and part of having a brain that cares about your survival. The goal is to change your relationship with it, to be able to feel anxious without being consumed by it, to hear the alarm without assuming that the house is on fire. That's a skill, and it takes practice, but you can do it. If this resonated with you, drop a comment, subscribe, check me out on Substack as well. The link's in my profile. I have more resources on anxiety there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.